Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with the Contoured Chemist. It's about that time of year. Can you guess based on the color I'm wearing? I don't wear red very often, but I thought this would be appropriate. Red, pink, looks like V-Day to me. So I thought, let's just do a little Valentine's Day get ready with me today using Seint's IIID Foundation. We're gonna go ahead and do two different looks for date night. So if you want to check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for being here. All right, friends, let's just get right on into it. If I sound a little off, it's because, oh my gosh, the cat is, no. The cat wants to join. Say hi. He's literally trying to jump up on my table. I found a paw print in one of my creams the other day that I left out. Lesson learned. Anyway, what I was saying is, if I sound a little off, it's because I actually caught the big C last week. This is the first day. I'm officially out of quarantine, and I'm still a little, not quite 100% yet, even though I feel a gazillion times better. So that's why I sound a little funny, but it's okay. I have not put on makeup in over a week. It is time. I know it will make me feel so much better to just put on my face. So let's get started. All right. The only thing I have on my face is my skincare. I used my vitamin C and an anti-aging serum and this bad boy right here, my glow screen. No silicones. In order to get the best longevity from IIID Foundation, that's all you need. You do not need a primer with this makeup. And sorry, this cat is into everything right now. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and only prime my eyes. Now this is a must-have. Face primer, this makeup's designed, you don't need one. Unless you're extremely oily, which if you are, message me, I can give you some recommendations, but the eyeshadow primer is a must-have because I have oily, mature, hooded eyelids, and I've got to make sure I have a good base for eyeshadow, and don't even think about putting creams on your eyes unless you use an eyeshadow primer if your eyes are anything like mine. So you don't get creasing and have longevity issues there. Powders are very different than creams, okay? So I'll link that one down below. I have already got my Perfector. I washed it, I swear. It's just kind of stained. And it is drying out as we get started. And then it's Valentine's Day. Who doesn't want a little plumping action for their lips? So I'm gonna go ahead and use this City Lips Plumping Lip Gloss. Now, I've told you guys before, this lip gloss really brings blood to the surface of my lips, so they turn really pink, really red. So a little goes a long way, but it does plump your lips, that's for sure. If you want it to not work quite so well, I sometimes will put our Milk lip conditioner down first and then put it on, and then it doesn't quite turn my lips crazy colors. Let's go ahead and do some foundation, and I'll give you guys my tips and tricks as we go. I am gonna go for, like, I'm putting on my makeup in the morning for a date night that night. We're gonna kind of do two looks. I'm gonna kind of call it day to night, even though I feel like both of them could work for either, depending on application. But for the face, I just want my face to last. So I'm not gonna do like the most natural finish. I definitely wanna make sure I've got everything covered by the time the night gets here, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and use my blush bronzer brush, and I'm gonna color correct first. All right, all I'm gonna do, which I don't even have a whole lot in there, but I'm just gonna tap, and we're just gonna buff on a thin layer where I need it. Okay, if you can't tell, like, there's still snow on the ground here in good old Missouri. So it's like reflecting a whole lot of light from my window. So that's why I might look brighter on one side than I normally do. Normally do not have so much snow. We got a lot. Luckily, we got snowed in the same week I had COVID. So my kids didn't have to miss any school during quarantine. We were all doing virtual learning anyway. It was really good timing. It just happened to work out perfectly. Not that there's any good time ever to catch that, but it could have been worse. So I'm grateful. Okay, so I got a thin layer everywhere I'm darker. So my nose, through here, I've got rosacea, hyperpigmentation, got a little rosacea there, and on my chin. Okay, now where I want a little bit more coverage, since this brush is a little bit bigger, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the blend brush. I pretty much go back and forth between these two when it comes to color correction, because with a color corrector, you always wanna use the smallest amount possible, just enough to match those darkest points, just enough to color correct, and we can always build up coverage. But with this makeup, thin layers is literally key. You will get far better coverage from using thin layers of a color corrector, main shade, then brightener, than you ever would from just like one shade kind of right in the middle and put on more of that. You'll never be able to get the same level of coverage than using that multiple color way designed for your skin, if that makes sense. Okay, now I'm gonna pick up the small end because this end is a little bit denser and I can really control it. And I'm gonna go into the darkest points. And I'm still kind of buffing on. I'm just making sure I have good coverage there because, let's be honest, I've been blowing my nose a lot. You can tell I probably sound still stopped up. So I'm gonna just put a little bit more there. Let's see. I don't have too many blemishes, probably because I haven't worn anything or left the house in a week. Add a little bit more right there. When it comes to hyperpigmentation, you truly have to experiment to see what works for you. Mine varies depending on if I've tanned or if I've been in the sun more. Hyperpigmentation always will. So I tend to sometimes use my finger to press on more. If I really feel like it needs to kind of melt in more, sometimes I will pick a brush the size of the area, like down here. I have a few spots as well. And I don't usually color correct along my jawline, but this is spot correction. Okay, now I can go ahead and do my eyelids. And I'm gonna go ahead and do my inner corners, and I feel like my dark circles from this are kind of worse than normal. So I'm just gonna kind of press that on, pat it out if you have to. Experiment again, using a brush versus using a finger. Your finger will kind of melt the creams in a little bit. So sometimes I like to use a brush, get a nice thin layer, and then go back in and press on more, only on the darkest points. So that way you are building up that coverage only where needed. You're not getting too much everywhere. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna kind of buff it on. My dog, between my dog and my cat, the cat is asleep over there now. I swear. A kitten and old senile dogs is quite the combination, you guys. Okay, so I kind of buffed it on. Now I'm gonna use my finger on the darkest points just to kind of press on a little bit more coverage. You see how red my lips have gotten? So I tend to do that first, so that way I can use color correction if needed, because it kind of goes outside my lip line a little bit. And my color corrector works for redness. So it will kind of control that a little bit. And I can always do a little bit more when I get to the lip. And because I literally still have the worst brain fog, I totally forgot to do what I wanted to show you guys, which was starting with Bella as a base. And I forgot, but that's okay, because the moral of the story is you can use bronzer at literally any step in your routine. Now, I feel kind of washed out today, probably because I just feel like I want a little bit of glow to my skin. I feel like I need a little bit of a tan. You know, if you don't use self tanner, or say you do use self tanner and it kind of wears off as you do your skincare on the nightly, then this is a great trick. I use this on days I'm feeling washed out. So sometimes I immediately barefaced look at my skin and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to start with Bella today. Or I am doing my makeup and then I get done and then I'm like, ooh, still feeling a little washed out. Now I'm gonna add it. Any point of your routine. I get asked all the time, when do you apply Bella bronzer? At any step. So we actually just got 3 new bronzers not too long ago. So we do have Palm, Tan Lines, and then this is the original Bella, and this is the new Heat Wave. So it kind of goes Tan Lines, I would say Palm is lighter than Bella. It's a very different tone. And then Heat Waves is the darkest. So if you have darker skin or you like that really bronzy undertone, go with Heat Waves. Bella is by far the most universal in my opinion. I'd say tan lines are, if you wear amber or lighter, amber might be pushing it, to be honest. I feel like it's very light in comparison. But it's great for like a winter bronzer if you're not a self tanner year round like I am. We recently just came out with the limited edition shade, oh my gosh, I can't remember, Confetti? Yeah. And I thought this would be the perfect combo to do this technique with, where you swirl in to both kind of a glowy illuminator shade and your bronzer. So I've been doing this for years. It is my favorite way to kind of get a inner glow to my skin. And I get asked all the time, how do I do it? And it's really simple. So even though I already put on my color corrector, it's not going to affect it much. Truly, as long as I'm not buffing in with a really dense brush. This brush is very loose bristles in comparison to the brushes that we press on. And so this brush really doesn't move around product a whole lot. So if you're applying with this, I really don't feel like you have to worry so much. That's why I feel like bronzer can be put on at any point in the process because you're using this brush. Now, if you're using a different brush to apply bronzer, that's a different story. Like if you're using this and it's gonna move it around more, but it's also gonna deposit a lot more right where you put it. So you're gonna have to really work on blending it more. This almost just gives a wash of color. And that's how I recommend using Bella. When you first get it, it's gonna be really soft and you really wanna be light-handed. And you'll notice as you open and close your compact over months, Bella will last a very long time. It will start to dry out and you can always melt it back down if you want, or just know that and you're gonna have to like swirl into your product more and more. So right now, this Bella is a little bit older. You can tell this glow is even older. It's like, I don't even know how that happens. It starts pulling away from the compact or the metal. And then my Heat Waves is really new. So it is the softest and I know that. So I'm going to swirl into these two and then just kind of barely dip into that one because I know it's gonna pick up a lot more. But I wanna get a really even distribution of that product across the entire face of the bristles. Does that make sense? So that way, when I'm touching my skin, it's not getting deposited in one spot, okay? So in turn, I can just simply give a really light wash. Like you might not even be able to tell, like I can tell I applied it there. But that's what I mean is like building up color. Okay, as long as you are kind of swirling it on, can you tell the difference? You can apply as little or as much as you want. So when I do a base of Bella, I usually I'll put it on first thing under all my highlights. And I notice I don't have to use as much highlights in order to get coverage, because you will get a little bit of coverage from Bella, even though it's more of a sheer formulation. It's really not designed to give coverage like our highlights or contours do. But this is a great way to add warmth. Okay, so purely the only purpose of a bronzer is warmth, okay? And by mixing it in with that glow illuminator, I'm adding that glow to my skin. So our creams are notorious for giving glow anyway because they don't set, because they're a cream formulation. But if you want more, I'm telling you, this is the way to get it. And this is my favorite way to get it because it just makes the skin look so healthy and luminous and younger. That's always my purpose. Okay, so you can do as little or as much as you want. Now I have not put my highlight on, so know that it's gonna be toned down. Okay, and since I really haven't put highlight on, you can put it everywhere if you want. My nose is naturally darker, so I tend to not put as much on my nose, but do the jawline, especially if you're trying to just warm up your whole face. Sometimes around here, it's just lighter on me, so sometimes I just use it to kind of even out my skin tone as well, okay? And again, this is just a base for glow, and then we can add more as needed, okay? So if you're lighter, I would say try tan lines and the confetti, because this glow is pretty dark, or just be really light-handed with it. So that's all I do. Add a base, okay? And you could tell it really did not move the coverage I had already placed, okay? But it helps kind of build up that coverage as well, in my opinion. So now I can go back to whatever brush. I think I'm gonna go ahead and go back to this brush so I have a little bit more coverage for my main shade, okay? All right. Out of my face. All right, so now I'm just gonna dip into my main shade. Again, we're just simply tapping, that's it. If you apply the colors in this way, you will need very little product in order to build up coverage. Okay, now I'm gonna tap on, because now I do have that base of color corrector and even the bronzer, so it can really take even less, and I don't want to move it around too much. Okay, so always think when you're wanting to get that base, you want to kind of swirl, buff, thin layer. That's how you distribute the product thinly. And then when you're wanting more coverage, you really want to even everything out. You're just going to press on, okay? And I'd already color corrected here. I don't want to tone down that bronzer too much, so I'm just gonna go kind of around right where I have the hyperpigmentation to kind of build up coverage where needed, but not where I don't need it. Does that make sense? So I'm going all the way up to the lash line, but again, I'm barely just tapping on in the middle of that brush. So really when I'm distributing this product, I'm not getting a lot. I'm just getting a little bit there to kind of build up coverage slightly without getting too much product near my eyes. And again, you don't have to apply it anywhere you don't need extra coverage. I rarely even apply anything on my temples except for maybe some bronzer. I don't need to color correct there, so you don't need to apply extra product there, only where needed. I am gonna do my eyelids because I do need to build up a little bit of coverage there, even them out to tone down that warmth of my corrector. Okay, and then you can assess. Look, see if you need any more coverage anywhere. Sometimes I put Again, a little bit more just where needed. Pressing on will build up that coverage. Okay. Usually here is where I also go back into my color corrector, build up a little bit more. Don't be afraid to layer. Key is thin layers, and you won't ever get cakey if using the right shades at least. Okay, all right, now that we're done with that, it's time to contour. All right, detail brush. I'm gonna go with my old standby Astoria. Pounce with some pressure, got it on half the brush. Okay, just gonna press that on. Keep pressing. Always blend upwards. Oh my gosh, I swear, it's like blinded by the snow over here. If you guys can even see that side. I know I barely can. Use your highlight brush to blend if needed, and then repeat. It's amazing how much easier your contour goes on when you can see. Like I can see this side, literally can't see it. Okay, since I'm still feeling a little washed out, which we take care of that at the end, I'm gonna go ahead and use indigo on my forehead. Sometimes Astoria just doesn't show up the same, so I'm gonna go with something darker. Indigo is definitely a little bit more bronzy and dramatic. Okay, so just blend up into the hairline. Down the forehead is key. Okay, you can always go back to your highlight, sure you have a good blend. Okay, I'm gonna use the same thing along my jawline. Start back here at the ear. Make sure you really blend down the neck. And that'll kind of help warm up the neck as well with that tone. Okay, now for nose, going back to Astoria, because we never want to put anything already warm on our noses. Our noses tend to pull warm anyway. So I'm gonna go in with the side of my detail brush, kind of wiggle it so I get it just on the very edge. Straight edge sometimes helps because you can almost kind of stamp it on. Like so. See that? Okay, and then I like to flip it over to the smaller end. Kind of blend upwards to the brow and then the tip of the nose to shorten it. Okay, same color under bottom lip. Again, will make your lips look bigger. Kind of gives that shadow. Key is just making sure it's nice and blended. So just a little goes a long way there. All right, it's time to brighten. I'm gonna pick up the buff brush, small end, and remember, less is more. But this will make your nose contour stand out and really bring attention to your eyes, complete the look, in my opinion. So I go all the way up that inner corner, down that nose contour, skipping the nostril area because Here is a texture problem for most people. Remember, the lighter you go with your brightener, the more it's going to emphasize texture. It's kind of the nature of how these creams work. So if you're using something really light like that, anywhere that there's texture, it's just going to emphasize that. We don't want to do that. So just skip it. Okay? There's no need for your nostril to be bright. So I'm just going to go down and over. I'm kind of skipping the underneath of my eye. But I'm focusing here on me in particular because I have hyperpigmentation. And it's just one additional layer of coverage. So right here is kind of the money spot to kind of brighten under your eye. Okay, and then if you want to kind of lift, you can go all the way up here. I tend to, it kind of emphasizes crow's feet, so I tend to just brighten right here, up and out. Again, I never really apply much here. So naturally you're gonna be brightened if you brighten up here on this high on your cheekbone where your illuminator goes here in a little bit. And then I'm just pressing. I'm literally just doing small tapping motions because again, we don't wanna pull. We don't wanna pull at that delicate under eye area. And we color corrected this entire area. We're building up coverage and we wanna make sure it's not moving anything that we placed already. Okay, you can go right in between brows. This can be a texture area as well, so make sure you're pressing it using small amounts. Okay, and then since I did the nose contour, we're gonna go right down those stripes like so. Okay, you can do a little bit on the Cupid's bow and center of the chin. Okay, that completes your diamond, which emphasizes the eyes. Okay, now this is where if you have a lighter neck, you either want to press on your brightener along underneath your contour, along your jawline to tie those tones in, or if you're still pulling darker or warmer than your neck, bronze it up. Okay, and this will not transfer to your clothes or anything like that. If you use this brush and just do the lightest layer, I've never had it on my clothes. Okay, so that way I'm kind of tied together. I feel like I'm looking very makeup-y right now, but that's okay. We haven't gotten to the most important step, and it is time. So now we break out that Perfector. So it's been drying. I had already dried it in a towel. I had already gotten out all the water before I sat down, but now it's perfect, and now I can start pouncing it all over to press it into the skin, remove any excess. This is the only way to remove excess. It's gonna blend any harsh lines, and it's gonna keep it looking like skin, which to me is what I want. I want that great longevity. I want great coverage, but I also want it to look like skin. So you're gonna constantly be moving this around as you're using it, and you feel it no longer cold on the skin. It's usually kind of picked up its max at that point. Okay, so I press it, and I'm really gonna concentrate under the eyes because that is where I really put 3 layers of product, okay? And I want to avoid creasing. So if you have issues with creasing, you're not using this Perfector everywhere you crease, then get your Perfector. It's magical. It's the only way this makeup looks like skin, in my opinion. Okay, now I'm gonna go to the other eye, the new area of the sponge. Okay, so I do that across my entire face until it looks like skin again. I know it's probably hard to see, but it makes the biggest difference in the world with this makeup. All right, so now I'm perfected, and now I'm gonna go ahead and set before I get any creases, because with mature skin, it can be an issue. So I'm gonna use my vanilla dust and my powder brush. I'm simply touching. I'm not swiping, I'm not pressing in hard. I just touched the top, okay? Make sure I don't have any creases, and then I'm going to just tap all underneath my eye and in that triangle, just to set that so I don't have any creasing during the day. It's not aging my under eyes because I'm not using too heavy of a powder or too much powder, which will just emphasize that texture. And it's not gonna let you crease or lock in any creases. Make sure you don't have any creases before you powder it. Okay, now for my eyelids, that's a different story. I want the most powdered base I can get so that I get a great blend with my eyeshadows. So I do swipe. See how much difference? I mean, so much powder. Okay, and then I really make sure I press it on all the way down to my lashes and all the way up to my brow. Okay, and then if I have any, I'll have residual on my brush, so then I kind of just tap a little bit on my nose, maybe a little bit between my brows, and then any leftovers right there that I don't want to crease or have extra shine. All right, so we've pretty much got our entire base of our face down, and it's time to do our first look, but I literally can't with these brows, so I'm just gonna pick up the line brush, and I'm just gonna go to my trusty Trust eyeshadow and fill in my brows real quick so then we can do our first eye look. So much better. It's like I just cannot stand it. I need my eyebrows touched up, microbladed again, so bad. So anyway, I haven't done that yet. Okay, let's do the day look. And I say day because I'm gonna use that term very loosely because it all depends on your preference. So we're just gonna do 2 looks. I feel like I call this more a day look because if I know I'm going out to a party or to dinner and I'm gonna be doing a lot of eating or drinking, I tend to never do a bold lip because I know it's gonna wear off. And I'd rather wear it during the day when I know I can touch up. And is that weird? I don't know. I don't do them very often anyway, but I feel like Valentine's Day, how can you not do a bold lip of some sort, right? I mean, I feel like I need one. Okay, so this is how I recommend doing a bold lip. Okay, I am gonna go ahead and do a lip first. And the reason why is because I feel like sometimes if you do your eyes first and then you do a bold lip, you might overdo it on the eyes. With a bold lip, you really don't need much as far as eyes go. This is why it's like classic to do a bold lip with a very simple eye look, a little winged eyeliner, just eyeliner, very little shadow, because it looks amazing together because you don't want a lot of bold, right? So we're gonna do, we haven't done blush yet. We still got eyes, blush, and lips. And I'm gonna show you how we can do 2 different looks, take it from day to night very easily by starting with this look. There you go. It's easier to go from this one to the second one. So first things first, I'm gonna take off any remaining, and it's amazing how much foundation gets on your lips. Any remaining gloss off my lips. If you want a bold lip to stay, numero uno is clean, dry lips. So use a makeup remover wipe clean your lips, use it to kind of scrub and exfoliate them. And let that dry, okay? Now, I recommend using something like this. I've shared it before. This is the Bite Agave Pre-Makeup Lip Serum. So this is a serum. It's not like a balm or oil or anything that's gonna really like create a barrier that then that makes your lips almost more slippery. So when you put a lipstick over it, it comes off, right? Because it just doesn't have anything to adhere to. So clean, dry lips, and then using something like this, for me, is a game changer because I have very dry lips naturally, especially if I'm wearing a really pigmented matte shade. You don't want it to emphasize all that texture or dryness. So this one has a really weird applicator. It looks like a doe foot applicator, but it's actually hard plastic, but it works really well. So you put on this serum and it almost just absorbs right away and mattifies your lips. It's a really weird texture feeling. It's like a serum in the way that it absorbs quickly. Serums do that, right? So let that absorb. While it's absorbing, let's talk red lippies, shall we? Because we have a new one and I really want to wear it because it's new and it's beautiful. But I'm going to show you guys kind of the comparisons because I feel like we have so many good choices now. So I might have to do some layering. Okay, so I did reorganize, and these are all of our glossy shades. There are some limited edition ones in here, so don't look at them too closely. But we got glosses, and then we have mattes, okay? So our newest matte is this one. This is Sangria. This is Saffron, and this is Scarlet, which is probably the same tone of this red, because I know I'm gonna get asked. So if I was going for a more monochromatic, like really wanted to match the same tone, Scarlet is the one that has more of that orange red, true bright, it's more of the fire engine red than I would say anything else, okay? Now Pop is a gloss. It's one of our newest glosses, and it's that one. It is the same tone, but glossy. Can you see that? Okay, and all of our glosses are less pigmented, more or less. Most, not all. All of them except for one, which Ruby, I don't think qualifies, but this one is very pigmented. But Scarlet is still more pigmented. So if you wanted a really like long lasting glossy red lip, put on Scarlet and put Pop over it. So pretty. Same tone. It's just gonna kind of, especially if you don't like that matte feeling, you'll love that. Okay, so the new Sangria is much more of a berry undertoned red. Okay, you could tell my sweater, it's not the same tone. Oh my gosh, so pigmented as well. Our reds are our most pigmented for sure. Okay, so that, you see that kind of almost like berry, raspberry, okay? Saffron, these are getting too close together, and all the S's. Don't ask me why all the S's are red shades. Okay, this one has got more pink in it. I don't know if you guys can tell. Anyway, it's hard. That Saffron is a more pink red. I feel like maybe I just need to swatch these. They're so hard. This is almost darker than this one. Anyway, but the thing is with any of these, if they're super pigmented like that, you can put them on as lightly or as dark as you want, and You can get the stained effect, and you could build up to a bold, bright lip as well. Okay, the other, let's see, I was going to show you guys Ruby, which in my opinion is more of that pink red, and this is the glossy, and this is our most pigmented gloss for sure. Okay, and then because I got asked what it looks like next to Sandstone. Sandstone is definitely more of that brick red, more of that warm brown undertoned red. Okay, so can you see them all in comparison to each other? Now I'm trying to think what else I would consider red. I would consider Black Cherry in the red family. It's definitely more plum and much more sheer. You can tell how sheer that is, but you could build it up and really get that darker look. And then last but not least, I would say Royal, which Royal is that, again, warm undertoned, more of like that brown, not really brown, wine red kind of. Okay, so these are glosses. Okay, Black Cherry and Royal and Ruby are glosses, and so is Pop. Okay, and I would say that would be about it for our warm shades, or our red shades. I can't talk. Again, brain fog. So those are all of our reds. Let's see. What should we do? I feel like this would be really pretty, but I really want to show you guys the new shade on the lips, and maybe we'll pick something fun to put over it. I wonder what Pop would look like over it. Let's try it, shall we? Okay, so when it comes to any kind of bold lip, highly recommend using a darker lip liner. I don't use a lip liner. I use Indigo contour. Our contours are designed to be really dry so that they stay put, and so that makes them great lip liners because they don't bleed and they really stay put better than an actual lip liner in my opinion. So I'm going to use the multitasker, and I'm just going to use Indigo and line my lips real quick. So you can tell it already makes them a little bit bolder, but it gives you a really nice outline so the color stays put. All right. Like I said, you can use your fingers. You can do a sheer kind of popsicle stain of color. Okay. Or you can use the multitasker and apply it more pigmented. Okay. Now, say you put it on and you're like, all right, so that's a little too bold for me. You can easily tone it down with something even in the center. I thought I got on my teeth for a second. I didn't. Ooh, let's try the new Madrid, shall we? I'm just gonna use a little bit on my finger. So this is the new, so this is Sangria. This is the new Madrid. I'm gonna use a little bit just on my finger. Gosh, my fingers are so stained right now. Just in the center. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, kind of like an ombre lip. Okay, and since, well, if you're anything like me and you can't stand the matte on your lips. I do feel like this is probably the most long wearing. You can put a layer, okay, let it dry for a couple minutes. You can even use a little bit of vanilla dust and then put another layer, let it dry for another 2 minutes. Okay, that is gonna give you the longest lasting matte lip, okay? Since I like a gloss, I'm gonna just put just a touch of pop over the top. A little bit of that orangey red. But it's gonna feel better. Like I can rub my lips together now. Okay, now that I have stained every finger, okay, we got our red lip. Let's do a little eyes. I'm gonna show you how very little you need with this kind of look. Okay, I'm gonna start out with what I always tell you guys is my magic eraser color. I don't know why I'm air quoting so many times today. I apologize. It's my brain, it's just not working. Everything is air quotes. Okay, Sarah, get with it. Okay, my magic eraser, oh my gosh, stop. My magic eraser color is Chai. So this is the color that's very close to the color of my lids. And I feel like for a bold lip like this, I love just doing a really natural color like this, but just enough that I can do it all over the lid and then windshield wiper it up. And just enough that I can actually see it though. So I'm still gonna carve out my eye. I'm gonna build up this color. You see that? Subtle, yet pretty. Now, if you're like, Sarah, I can't even see that, grab a very light, neutral, like basic, and you can just concentrate that in crease for a little bit more depth, okay? And then run it underneath the lash line. Okay, then a little bit of a brightener. Okay, or you can use your illuminator there, of course. Tear duct under the highest point of the brow. Okay, and then it's all about the eyeliner, okay? You still wanna define the eyes. I mean, if it's a fully daytime look, you could totally skip it, but I feel like my eyes look like they're gonna get lost really easily. So my favorite two are either the ink liner from Kat Von D or our Black Friday cream eyeliner. I'll be honest, I use both, just depends on the day. This one will give a little, like a thinner, more precise line. The cream liner you can definitely smudge out. Doesn't matter which kind I use, I always set it with a shadow so that I don't have too harsh of a line and so that I know it's not going to transfer to my lid or disappear throughout the day. Well, I almost said we were done, but I never put blush on. Oops. Okay. Let's use a new shade, shall we? When you got a bold lip, and I don't have a bold eye, but you don't want to compete, right? You don't want to put a bold blush that is going to compete with the lips you got going on. When you're going this bold anywhere, you want to make sure to keep the rest a little bit more subtle. So we want to avoid clown face. That is my point, right? No clown face. So I'm going to keep it neutral since we've got red. So let's go with, you guys might not think this is neutral, but I totally do. And I've been dying to use this combo together. So let's see if I can get these out of here. All right. Can you guess? I mean, they also scream Valentine's Day. So we're going to use a little Madrid, which is the matte, and a little Boardwalk, which is the nude gloss, for a nice nude subtle cheek. Okay, top it with Boardwalk. Yes, I knew I was gonna love that combo. I knew it from the first time I swatched it. Okay, last but not least, a little bit of illuminator. And I'll be honest, I don't know which one I want to wear. We got two limited edition shades that just came out. Confetti and Chandelier. Normally I would probably pick, or we have perfume number 5, which I literally can't smell because I can't smell or taste anything still. But I could smell it last week before this hit me, and it smells really good. So normally with Valentine's Day, I'd probably go with pink. I'd probably go with Angel, maybe rose gold. Let's just do a little mixing. I feel like sometimes we limit ourselves to think that we have to use one. In my opinion, never. So I'm going to put these right next to each other. I mean, technically I could swipe into all 3, but I'm just gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna swipe into Chandelier, swipe into, I keep wanting to call it glitter, confetti. And then we're gonna go right up to that upper cheekbone. Just tap on a little bit of that glow. Perfect. Okay, there you go. That is the day. I feel like my lips are so bold. I went so bold that I can't call this a daytime look. Look number 1. All right, I'll show you pictures of look number 1, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to change it for look number 2. Okay, friends, I'm back. I'm going to show you how we can alter this, maybe really easily. Oh my gosh, my hair's going to drive me crazy. So the only thing I'm going to remove is my lips. And then we're going to act like we're going out for date night. Do a little bit more on the eyes, even the cheeks. My lips will probably be stained, which is fine. I can use that. And do a little bit more subtle on the lips so that we can eat and drink to our heart's desire. And no one will notice if we lose our main focus of our makeup look, you know? Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. And I'm going to kind of color correct because let's be honest, I just wiped away probably some coverage there. So I'm gonna go just back into my mango. Okay, my main shade. Okay, I'm going to grab our new vanilla lip conditioner because I'm obsessed with this one. Even if I can't smell it right now or taste it. And let's start with eyes, okay? We have a nice base going on. Like I feel like our eyelid's already carved out. We already brightened all of that. But now let's kind of add some drama and do eyes as our main focus. And we're gonna just play with Valentine's shades, right? Because if you're scared of pink shadow, I dare you to try it. It is probably one of my favorites of all the colors. So I'm gonna grab some shades that I'm feeling a little inspired by, and we're gonna start with Claire. Okay, so it's a really great shade. You could use it as like a number 4 shade and kind of build it up. You can use it as a lid shade, lighter. It's kind of that mid-tone pink, but not like too pink. So I'm just gonna kind of pull it up over where I already had that crease shade, okay? Look how pretty that is. I'm obsessed with this color. Okay, so this is gonna kind of just, it's kind of like a dusty pink, you know? It's not like, oh my gosh, she's wearing pink eyeshadow. Okay, so I'm just gonna add that there. Also gonna pull some underneath the eye. So this is gonna be a subtle, a pink but not in your face pink eye look. How about that? Something you could wear every day, year round, okay? Another one of my favorite shades is Cranberry. This one I wanna make sure it doesn't go on too dark. This is another one that can be, it's probably more in like the 3 category, not a light shade. It's kind of more of a medium shade. So I'm gonna use the edge of my brush and kind of just brush on a little bit on the lid. I just don't want my lid overall too dark. Do you see that? So it's gonna give it that touch of light over that matte, because we just had mattes on earlier. Okay, this shade can be very bold. This is Sis. This is one of those that I call foiled. You try it and you're like, whoa, that is, it's very shimmery without being glittery. It's like one step before you get to a glitter, okay? So if you have mature eyes like me, just be strategic with it. You don't wanna have it like fall out under the eye, or it's gonna really make that area look like it's textured, okay? So when I use these shades, I'm really strategic with what brush I even use to put it on and placement, okay? So I'm gonna use the multitasker so I get the least amount of fallout, and I'm gonna kind of load up my brush. Then I'm gonna tap off excess so it doesn't fall, and I'm going to that inner part of my lid and I'm pressing. I am just gonna use this color to kind of brighten that lid space that right now is pretty dark. There's nothing kind of lightening it up, okay? And I'm gonna keep repeating that as many times as I need to get that brightness without getting fallout, okay? Now, if you've tried this and you really struggle, you can use a little bit of eyeshadow primer right there so it's sticky, and then just use your finger and press it on. Sometimes using your finger is the easiest method, as long as you can kind of control where you place it. Okay, so just right there, inner third of the lid is going to just kind of brighten, give that pop. It is pink, but it's not like in your face pink. It's very wearable, I feel like, and then it kind of blends in to that Cranberry, okay? And you can kind of just softly blur that edge so it ombres from light to dark. I will say with these more foiled shades, you just truly want to keep it out of the crease, since that's where we naturally have more texture as we age. And if you do get some in the crease, go back in with that matte and kind of blend that out if you need to. Okay, and then I can't do a look without this, and I'll explain more why in a second. Gilded. Gilded's one of my favorite. It's that reddish burgundy. Look at that color. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm gonna use a little bit of this in the outer corner for that drama, that depth. So smudge brush, tap, 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 tap off excess. I'm gonna go right to that outer corner, and I'm just gonna kind of tap it in the outer corner and into the actual crease a little bit. So it adds that depth, that definition. Oh my gosh, it's one of my all-time favorite shades ever. Okay, and it reminds me of one of my newest favorite shades, which I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me talk about, but this is like the shimmery version of Revival. Revival is our newest deep dark matte, but it's like a plum. But this shade will make green eyes, hazel eyes pop. It's got just enough purple in it that it's nice and neutral. Like, it's not stark black, yet it's not brown. It's my favorite. I'm obsessed with plum. So obsessed. So I'm gonna kind of take away some of that blackness. Sometimes I just don't like wearing stark black eyeliner. And I'm going to just use this over that liner I already have. Okay, so I'm just gonna use, and I'm gonna press it on over there. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back in with that multitasker just for my outer corner bottom lashes. My gosh, so much my favorite shade right now. I've been using it on the daily, if you guys couldn't tell, but kind of tones down that black, but it still gives you definition, but it's just a beautiful, different tone, especially if you're just tired of black eyeliner. I mean, black eyeliner is never gonna go out of style, I'm just saying. It's a fun change. And if you have hazel eyes like me, I promise you'll love it. There you go, just added a few shades. I still had my brightener, I still had that lift, and I suddenly have an entirely new eye look. I will put everything, of course, down in the drop box below, where I always have every single shade I use in every video, in case you didn't know. Okay, let's kind of add a little something something to the cheeks. I feel like I could easily just keep, what was this? This was Madrid and Boardwalk on my cheeks, and I still love it. It's nice nude cheeks that go with everything. But because this is February, hopefully this will still be available by the time the video is up. But if you did not see that Seint is currently gonna be doing the rest of the year, it's gonna be the first of every month will be a shade of the month. And it might be a limited edition shade, it might be a brand new shade, but it's just gonna be like a while supplies last shade that you can snag. It's always 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and that'll be on the 1st of every single month. So I'm excited to see what new shades might be coming. This is really fun because it's brand new, but they are bringing back some of the favorites that I know with the advent calendar came out, and then they released some and they just sold out so fast that everyone wasn't able to snag them. So February, obviously the month of love, is one of my very favorites, Love Spell, okay? I can't tell you how much I love this shade. Let me swatch it real quick so you can see it next to Royal, because Royal was the last one I swatched, and it is the most similar to Royal, I would say. So when people ask me, I'm usually like, try Royal. So this is Love Spell. You can tell it's very bronzy, very warm, but this one actually is a shimmer, which I don't know if you can see on camera, which the rest of these do not. I don't think no, all the rest of these do not have shimmer, but it does have a shimmer to it. And that's why I had to show you guys Gilded on the eye. It is actually Gilded eyeshadow with Desert Sunset, which Desert Sunset is very similar to the Boardwalk I used. It's just like a very nude, neutral, glossy. But that is literally all that Love Spell is. An artist actually created it. And then they made it limited edition, and I was so sad because I love this shade. And every time I wear it, I get asked what I'm wearing. It is such a beautiful neutral. It can pull very plum, very warm. Sometimes people even say it looks pink on me. I feel like it depends on your undertones, obviously. But when you wear it really lightly, it just shows that glow, which obviously I'm obsessed with. So I'm just gonna use a very small amount because obviously I have, like, if you put on a lot, it's gonna be very bronzy. But obviously I already have some blush on. But sometimes you come home from work and you're like, okay, is my blush even showing? This is a great shade to kind of just put on top, give you a little bit more drama, add that glow back to your skin. It's a very warm shade that I truly feel like it goes with everything. And I have a lot of people that love bronzy shades, and this was our only bronzy shade in my opinion, and they got rid of it. So snag it while you can. It's limited edition, only this month or till it sells out. And obviously set your timer for the 1st of next month, March 1st, there'll be a new shade, and I'm hoping it might be new. I don't know. I'm sure most of you are probably wondering, when is it gonna be Sunshine State? Because that's what everyone else is waiting for, which I just have a feeling if they chose Love Spell for February, Sunshine State might be a summer shade. Just my guess, but we shall see. I will be surprised with the rest of you. Okay, let's go ahead and do another lip look real quick and we should be good to go. Okay. Since I've got a more dramatic eye now, I got more blush on, we're gonna do a nice neutral lip. I'm gonna go back to my old standby, which is Astoria, to give my lips some definition. Oh my gosh, I'm losing it, guys. Okay, and because I'm dying to see what this looks on my lips now, let's just do the combination we just tried before. We're gonna do Madrid. My dogs are snoring hardcore if you guys can't hear them. So, oh my gosh, I apologize. All right. Oh. And I'm gonna just use my finger so I don't get it too much. I want to be able to see my lips, but I don't want my lips to be the star. Then I'm going to load up on the gloss. Another option that would have been really pretty over this would be Carousel, which is another new shade, which would bring in a little bit more of that light pink. See how nice and neutral that is? I feel like it's a touch pink. Okay, we're just gonna have a little bit of Carousel right in the center. This is the frosty one. Sometimes a touch of that frost right in the center of your lips will help because it just makes your lips look bigger. Okay, and then that was look number 2. I'm gonna lock and load it. I got asked the other day why I don't always use setting spray or fully powder my face. And you guys, it just depends. If I want my makeup to last all day, all night, I will use a setting spray very last in my routine. On the daily though, I know my makeup's gonna last no matter what. I have the right colors. I've perfected my application. I don't have silicone underneath my makeup. And with the right colors, this makeup will last good 8 to 12 hours easily without any setting spray. So this will just kind of give me a little bit of insurance, and it will also give my skin a little bit more of a dewier look. So you just kind of have to try it for yourself and see what works for your skin. I say it all when skin is so different, you have to do what works for you. Okay, so there you go. There's look number 2. We went over all the reds, very Valentine's-y. I mean, I don't feel like this eye look looks pink very much at all, but I technically used a bunch of in the pink family, pinks, plums, the most red shade we have, which would be Gilded. Oh my gosh, are those not pretty? Love it. So that is our get ready with me today. I hope that was helpful. Hopefully my weird voice congestion was not too annoying for you guys to listen to for that long. I hope that maybe gave you some ideas for hopefully your date night this weekend for V-Day. At least you learned a little something. If you need a color match for 3D Foundation or Demi Colour, I can help you out. My color match request is in the drop box below the video. You can tell me all about your preferences and I will give you a custom match just for you. That is what I do and I love it and I would love to help you. As always, thank you guys so much for being here and watching, and happy Valentine's. Love you.